This is Texans TV. Texans Extra Points is sponsored by BHP and by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, and by your Houston area Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
We are ready to rock at NRG Stadium. Watt gets him down this time. JJ with the sack. Rock and roll. Touchdown. Deshaun Watson.
This is Texans Extra Points, and we are very happy you're with us because this one's going to be a big show. I'm Drew Dougherty. I'm your host. It's a big show because we got Clint Stoerner here. He used to sling the pill around in the NFL at Arkansas for the Razorbacks right here at Baytown Lee, and now you can hear him on the airwaves over at Sports Radio 610. You ready?
Yes, sir. Always ready.
All right, let's get into it in just a little bit because first we got to get some news of the week out of the way. It's all part of our Red Diamond Iced Tea Quick Hits. And what a weird finish last week against the Indianapolis Colts. You might think Deshaun Watson is thinking about that, but no, he's moved on.
Attention to details all the way to the end, and in the clutch, moments like that, we just got to be locked in all the way. So that's pretty much it. But once Monday hit, it was over with, and on to Chicago, and we just got to keep pushing forward and get ready for the next game.
And speaking of moving on, Nick Martin is the center who snapped one a little bit low and a little left. Romeo Cornell spoke with Martin and reassured him things are all right.
Tell him the same thing that we just talked about as far as the team. One play doesn't define a player. I mean, that game was 68 offensive plays, and boom, all of those snaps were pretty good. And then the one there at the end was a little low, or we couldn't handle it, and we lose the game. All right, I expect him to come to work, do the best job he can at work, and then have a good game against the Bears.
At Soldier Field, it's the Chicago Bears for the Texans on Sunday at noon. And who are these Bears? They've got Mitch Trubisky at quarterback, Khalil Mack across the way. They're a talented bunch.
You know what? I think he's got some good talent. He's got good arm strength. And sometimes things work out for the better. And they haven't done that for the team. And I think sometimes the way the team goes can impact the way a guy plays. But I expect that their best game is going to be, they're going to put their best foot forward to try to play their best game. And we have to do the same thing.
All right, that's the news of the week. Let's talk about Deshaun Watson, Clint Stoerner, because it doesn't end the way you think, but you still learn from it. And you don't think this really jiggles his mindset in a negative way, do you?
No, I think it's 100% positive. Obviously the loss hurts, and the way in which you lost is painful. There's no doubt about it. But as a quarterback, you look at what you can do moving forward, playing the position to keep that from happening again. Whether it's the staggered stance, going to a level stance, whether it's like Peyton Manning used to do where he literally took a mental picture when he touched leather every single shotgun snap. It presents an opportunity. It's unfortunate, but in the long run, in Deshaun Watson's career, he can refocus and make sure every single day the little things are getting taken care of to keep that from happening again, or at least minimize the chances that it happens again.
So it ended in the Texans' 8th loss, but aside from that, Deshaun Watson's been playing brilliantly in 2020. Is it just simply a matter of he's been taking what the defense has given him? That's what he said. What else have you seen?
Well, I think that's a lot of coach speak, right? Take what the defense gives you, but ultimately, I think it's about more calculated shots. I think it's being a distributor. I think it's throwing the football accurately, and ultimately, it's the one thing that Deshaun Watson needed to develop from the start of the 2020 season until now, and it's happened really quickly in a season where they've lost a bunch of games, and that's play the position between the ears in an elite way, right? All the great quarterbacks, the Aaron Rodgers, right? The Drew Breeses, the Tom Brady's, these guys that are not only great, but they've played a long time. They process the game at a different level between the ears. And Deshaun, we all know he can make a highlight reel. We all know he's athletic. We all know he can extend plays. But you want to limit the number of times that you have to do that
right
to win ball games. And he's done a great job of doing that, completing 70% of his passes. That speaks volumes right now for Deshaun Watson. I'm unbelievably impressed with the development of number 4.
Yeah, you just said the word highlight reel, the words highlight reel. Will Fuller was involved in a lot of those. Will Fuller's not around. What did you think of the combo of Cooks and QT and Chad Hansen, guys that you didn't normally see as much of in the run-up to this last game.
Well, clearly they did a great job of stepping in, and really the offense didn't miss a beat offensively from a production standpoint. So they did a great job. But I think the statement that was made on Sunday, even though the game was lost in just heartbreaking fashion, the statement was, this system with Deshaun Watson at quarterback is a system that doesn't need a DeAndre Hopkins caliber player, that doesn't need a Will Fuller caliber speed receiver. If Deshaun Watson is distributing the ball and he's processing from the pocket the way that he is right now, you can plug players in and you can still have success and still score points. We saw two players in Kiki QT and Chad Hansen, both good players, no doubt about it, but they had Pro Bowl type of days with Deshaun Watson. So look, here's the deal, Drew. If Deshaun Watson is playing the quarterback position in a way like Tom Brady did back in the day, he made guys that probably shouldn't have been Pro Bowlers. They ended up Pro Bowlers and had great careers. If Deshaun Watson turns into the kind of quarterback that can do that, look out now.
It's cool with me. I'm fine with that. Now, with all the successes he's had throwing the ball, what's the deal with the run game?
That's a good question. I think you and I could probably make a lot of money if we could figure that one out, right? The one thing that I see consistently on film is that I think schematically with Tim Kelly and with Deshaun Watson pulling the trigger, you've got to be a heavy RPO team, offense. You've got to be, like 50% of your play calls probably have some kind of run-pass option involved, right? And we all know that the offensive line has to hesitate. They can't get downfield beyond 3 yards or it's a flag. And so it's a unique skill set for an offensive line, a coach, and an offensive line unit to be able to execute that at a high level. Know when to not check up, know when to check up, and know when to be aggressive and when not to be aggressive. I see them really struggling in that one particular part of this offense. But as a whole, man, if you got the answers, you're better than me.
All right. We just talked about the run game. Let's talk a little bit more about it. It's been struggling, but it didn't struggle on this play we're about to break down, courtesy of John Harris and the Telestrator. This is the X's and O's of David Johnson's touchdown run last week.
Welcome to Texas Telestrator, presented by BMW. I'm your host, John Harris, and we're going to jump right to the surface, presented by Microsoft, to take a look at David Johnson's touchdown run from about 6 yards out. The number of things to take a look at here that I really like and would help make this play successful. And the first thing has to do with movement. You'll see how the Texans initially started off. David Johnson's right here, and Darren Fells is right here. Now, you see Fells looking back at Deshaun like, yo, when do you want me to go? Because the Texans are going to move David Johnson back here and then move Fells over here. Now, what I want you to look at is, look what this does to the Colts here. They got to move around, like, wait a second, I got to go over here. This guy's coming back. They've got to change a bunch of things. Now David moves over here, and you see even more movement because that's going to tell you the way he moved, he's worried about David going here and him getting there. They're worried about a pick route right here. So now all of a sudden Deshaun knows this is man coverage in case he wants to change the play. He's now absolutely 1,000% sure of that. But he likes the look, so we stick with it. And we're going to get a little tackle wrap play. Some people call it a dart play. And what I love about it is you don't have to block this guy because he has to read Deshaun. So you're going to block here, here. All right, Titus is going to do a great job working up to the linebacker. This is a key block by Fells here. And then Laramie's going to pop around. And what's going to happen is he would typically go inside this block. But Lewis fights Fells enough that Laramie has to literally hop around and then lead up through the hole, which is absolutely athletic as it gets. So let's watch it here. You see Laramie pull around. Now watch him hop. See that little hop where he goes around? That's a man about 315 pounds. This ballerina hop and able to get on a block right there. I mean, that is excellent, excellent stuff. Now, a few other things. Good job on a double team here. Do not, and you couldn't allow penetration. Titus does a wonderful job getting up to the linebacker. He doesn't attack. You see how he kind of approaches him, you know, kind of like you're going to scare your younger sister or younger brother, and then boom, and then he gets on him. Good block right there. Two of the best to ever do it in the FCS, Darius Leonard and Titus Howard. And then David Johnson getting some help from Laramie, sets up that block. And then Johnson, boom, hit the gasket in the end zone. All right, from the end zone view, you can see this even better. You can see the double team here. You can see Titus work his way up to the linebacker. You can see Laramie pop on around and get that final block. You can see the Colts moving around. That was key. So they move around a little bit. Now, good get off here. Okay, good job there. Getting Stewart taken care of. Got Buckner taken care of. You know Houston's got to sit and look at Deshaun. Laramie approaches properly. Laramie's going to come around, pop around that block, get Walker, and then Johnson fouls his blockers on into the end zone. You see it all develop, and there it is. If you see that hole, you plant your foot and you go, and you know that Laramie gets that, you're in the end zone because Titus is taking care of that. Run behind your pads and get in the end zone. Excellent job there from the entire crew. Up front, Tim Kelly's design, David Johnson getting the end zone, Laramie Tunsil's quickness and the hop to get around, the athleticism. Everything was executed 100% on this play. Need more of that for the rest of this season.
Cooks, short side right. Deshaun takes the snap. Pass rush, ferocious. Watson escapes, throws downfield, and he's got a man. QT cuts inside. 30, 25, 20, 15, and QT is wrapped up inside the 11-yard line.
We're back with a next-gen stat powered by AWS, and Kiki QT had that 64-yard catch on Sunday. But did you know he actually traveled with all that zigging and zagging and route running, 77.9 yards. It was the second longest play of the year for the Texans. Drew Dougherty, Clint Stoerner of Sports Radio 610 with us. Let's talk defense. That was a cool offensive play for Kiki, but the last few weeks, the run game for the Texans, or the run game defense for the Texans, has been a little bit better. What have you seen? Why are they playing better?
Well, I think you see the things that Romeo Crennel and Anthony Weaver talk about consistently is guys are in their gaps. Guys are doing their job, so to speak. When you see a wall that's built on the defensive front, that's just guys doing their job, being where they're supposed to be. And then I think on the backside of that is, there was some tackling issues that just became a big-time problem through the first 6 to 8 games this season. And we've seen guys like Justin Reed really step up and be a big-time tackler in big moments. We've seen Zach Cunningham consistently throughout games be that tackler that's leading the NFL in tackles right now. Those guys, when those caliber defenders struggle early in the season, along with those gap issues, that discipline up front, those kind of issues, that's a bad recipe, right? And so they found a way to shore those problems up, and in all, over a 4-quarter game, they've been able to stop the run.
Tell me about what you've seen from the two key rookies, Grenard and Blacklock on defense, and tell me about what you want to see this final quarter of the season.
Well, I think when you talk about Ross Blacklock, we're back to it's boring, I know, but he's an interior defensive lineman.
Yeah.
Just do your job, right? I mean, would it be nice for him to flash a couple of times in the backfield this week against a quarterback that likes to run the football, can run the football between the tackles? You got to think that Chicago's going to try to attack through the air because of the secondary issues that Houston has. So would it be nice to see Ross Blacklock penetrate what he did a lot in college and make some noise and flash off the film? Sure, it would be, but I just need Ross Blacklock to be in the game and do his job, as J.J. Watt would say. When you look at Jonathan Grenard, he's a guy that I think, first I would like to see him get more clock in place of Whitney Merciless, a veteran. And then from there, it's about setting the edge and playing fast, right? We've heard Weaver talk about his ability to do those things, about how athletic he is, and about how he's a football guy. Let's see it an extended period of time and see if he can really be that guy as a rookie.
How hamstrung is the secondary without Bradley Roby? What do they got to do?
Well, I mean, look, they're really strapped without Bradley Roby. They're really strapped without several pieces that we thought they would have this season when the season started. But you're looking at a Chicago Bears football team that's not very confident throwing the football. And so you hope that your big weakness on defense isn't exposed. With this secondary looking the way it is, Drew, it's going to be a tough Sunday moving forward for the next 4 weeks.
You say Band-Aids, you talking about one of those big Ace Wrap Band-Aids?
Yeah, the bigger the better.
Not one of those My Little Pony
the
Band-Aids?
The bigger the better, for sure.
Fair enough. All right, let's do some trivia. Texans taking on the Bears. So how about this? Later in the show, we're going to have the answer, but when's the last time the Bears beat the Texans?
Here's the snap. Carr in the pocket. Guns long down the right side. Wants Corey Bradford. Has him. Touchdown, Houston! David Carr to Corey Bradford. 37 yards. And the Texans get on the board.
Going way back to 2004, and that's probably the coldest game the Texans have ever played, franchise history, but David Carr hitting Corey Bradford for a deep strike there. You remember those guys, Clint, Stoerner. That's some fun times from long ago against the Bears. Let's talk about the Bears of today. Mitch Trubisky, if you look at his stats, you don't look at anything else, just look at his stat line, you think, okay, he's kind of about a middling guy. When you look at what the full picture is, what do you see from Mitch Trubisky at the quarterback position there?
Look, the inconsistencies. I mean, that's the thing about Mitch Trubisky. I mean, he was drafted because of his tangibles, his ability to spin the rock around the park, the high ceiling. I mean, those are all things that you hope you develop once you draft a guy, and the Bears have not been able to develop for one reason or another, whether it's him or the coaches. They have not been able to develop Mitch Trubisky, and so when you look at it, it's inconsistent as ever. And so he's going to give you opportunities. The thing with Mitch Trubisky that the Texans have to keep from doing is allowing him to get in a rhythm, particularly with his legs. If he becomes a dual threat guy and he can hurt you with his legs, then all of a sudden the reads are very simple in the pass game, right? And so what the Texans have to do is keep him on his toes, keep him from getting in a rhythm with it in the run game, in the quarterback run game in particular, and then you can bank on him giving you opportunities, whether that's missing third down throws that are there, or it's throwing balls into traffic, or it's holding the ball too long and J.J. Watt getting a strip sack. He will give you those opportunities. You can bank on that. He will not beat you unless you allow him to beat you. This is a game where the defense should have an advantage over 4 quarters, even with the injuries, over Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, and one of the guys he could help beat you with is Allen Robinson.
Yep.
That guy can play. What do the Texans need to do as far as containing him?
Well, I think you got to know where he is, right? I mean, the one thing that the Texans have had a big problem with this year is that in opportune times, they've not known where Juju Smith-Schuster was. Blow a coverage, he goes for a touchdown across the middle of the field. Not know where Derrick Henry is in critical moments. He goes up the sideline for 50-plus yards. You have to know at all times where Allen Robinson is. He's the one guy that they're going to try to get the football to in critical moments. And if that means that you just put whoever your best defender is, I don't know who that is at this point in time, but whoever it is, you put him on him in a man situation. Or if you want to go zone and you widen that linebacker just a bit, bring that safety over the top just a bit and squeeze his zone and make it very difficult for Mitch Trubisky to get the football to him, then this isn't Phillip Rivers. This isn't Drew Brees. These aren't guys that can overcome those types of problems. If you squeeze Allen Robinson, whether it's man or zone, Mitch Trubisky will try to force the football to him even though it's not there. And so you got to know where he's at, and you got to squeeze him for 4 quarters.
All right, with everything we've talked about today, let's get into Gatorade players to watch. Which Texan are you keeping your eye on against the Bears?
Wow, well, this week was wide open, right?
Yeah.
I'm going with Zach Cunningham.
Okay.
And for me, Drew, Tyrell Adams would have been a good one. You could pick any of the receivers that had good games last week. You could pick some interior offensive linemen that need to handle Akeem Hicks and some of these other guys, But for me, it's Zach Cunningham. This defense in Chicago, they've given up a boatload of points, 70-plus points the last 2 weeks. I think Deshaun Watson and company are going to be able to score points. The question is can Zach Cunningham and company slow down the Bears and not allow them to turn this into a boat race, right?
Right.
And Zach Cunningham's going to have to play sideline to sideline. He's going to have to play in 3rd and 4th down in critical situations. He's going to have to cover some backs out of the backfield or maybe a tight end at some point in time in critical situations. And so if I got to pick one, it's Zach Cunningham. He's got to have a big game.
I'll take it. You know, the fans, you chose Kiki QT, which I think is an excellent choice as well. He went off for a hundy last week, 141 yards to be exact. He was ripping up the defense. He looked good. I like that. Let's keep it going. Mine, I think the Bears adjust. I think they take away or try to take away what the wide receivers can do. Look out for Jordan Akins. I think he can feast because he can get stuff going from the intermediate and beyond. All right, don't go anywhere. We've got more Texans Extra Points. When we come back, we've got keys to a victory. This is all coming up next.
Texans Extra Points has been sponsored by BHP and by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, by Amagi Bank, official business bank of the Houston Texans, and by Jameson. Tailgate like a Texan with Jameson Irish Whiskey.
Earlier, we asked you, in this Texans trivia. When was the last time the Texans lost to the Bears? Well, that would be never, so it's kind of a trick question. They're 4-0 all-time against Chicago. Houston has won by 7 points every single one of those. Let's keep that rolling. Clint Stoerner, and let's get some FCCU keys to a victory. How do the Texans get their 5th victory of the season and in franchise history against the Bears?
Well, I think the big thing is the one thing this offense is doing that gives the Texans a chance to win ball games is obviously starts with Deshaun Watson and the rhythm that they're in this pass game. Clearly, they can't depend on the run game, so they're going to be pass heavy, and Tim Kelly knows that at this point, and he's going to give Deshaun Watson more opportunities as we roll along. So it's going to boil down to keep that rhythm. The interior offensive line, when you look at Fulton, Clemente, Martin, and Max Sharping, any combination of that group, they're going to have their hands full, and they've got to control Hakeem Hicks. They've got to control this guy and keep him from dominating the game, because he hurts you in the run game, he hurts you in the pass game. Hicks has the ability to do that. So offensively handling him, and I think defensively, right, I mean, it's about keeping Mitchell Trubisky from getting in that rhythm. Tyrell Adams, Zach Cunningham, they've got to stop the run inside and force this into an air game for Trubisky, and the Texans should be in good hands.
I like it. I'm going to go with this. Fast start, and that's not just the offense, not just the defense. Make them punt if you're on defense the first time out. Hey, even get a pick or fumble. And then let's score on that first drive. Put them at a disadvantage so your defense is in a more advantageous spot. And as far as turnovers, let's just get one. Get one more than you turn it over, or if you don't turn it over, get +1, because the Texans have not been good as far as turnover differential this year.
You know, the bend don't break that they have to play with these backup DBs out there. A lot of pass deflections, high balls. Mitchell Trubisky will give you those. You might get a couple INTs here, Bo.
You're making me a believer. I love it. Hey, I'm glad you're with us. It was good talking with you. We appreciate you joining us as well. This has been Texans Extra Points. We'll be back, same place, same time. And until then, go Texans. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.